Let's go to the shore. So, you want to go to the shore? Good idea. What will you discover there, I wonder? This night is far from over, and there are any number of adventures still awaiting you. I hope that you have prepared yourself in advance, and I do hope, for your sake, that you have learned how to swim. I have a sneaking suspicion that this skill might come in handy. You follow the path which leads to the shore, supporting yourself on weary, aching limbs which feel ready to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. You are little more than a wisp of a girl, but you have been running for so very long, and your feet are so very numb you feel like a great lumbering thing. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope as you continue to run that you will find a means to escape your current predicament by the shore. You do not know what awaits you, but you have visions of a harbor extending out to the horizon, cradling a fleet of white-sailed fishing vessels. Surely there will be a kindly fisherman who will be willing to take you far, far away on his boat, to a place where your pursuer will not be able to find you? You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly fisherman, a face you have lifted from the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. You will have thick, bushy eyebrows and a dark brown beard streaked through with gray. You will look intimidating at a glance, but he will be fiercely protective of you, just like a father. You do not know what fathers are supposed to be like. You are only imagining. It is your imagination, however, which grants you the strength needed to keep going. You run to the shore. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares that lurk within it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. It is still dark, too. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the vertiginous cliffs, which plummet sharply downwards to an array of sharp, spiky rocks below. You felt, upon escaping the woods, a degree of hope, but the sight of these weather-blasted cliffs gives you pause. You inhale. Then you frown. Now what are you to do? You did not think this plan of yours through very well. Not that you had much in the way of a plan in the first place. There is little in the way of civilization here. The cliffs are far from the village. How far? You do not know. And you cannot see any houses. Where exactly will you rest your weary head, and what of your weary legs? Fitfully, you look around. There is nobody to your east, nor is there anybody to your west. There is no point in looking south, that is the way you came, and when you look to the north, the world falls away from you. The cliffs are too steep to scale, and it is too dark. Naturally, there is not a soul here to help you. You are on your own. You feel so overwhelmed you could very well cry. You do not cry, however. You know that tears have never helped anyone. You got yourself into this mess. Now you need to get yourself out of it. It is with this thought in mind that you inhale a lungful of salty oceanic air. Then you begin your exploration in earnest. You keep away from the edge of the cliffs, afraid that you might slip and take a sudden, unfortunate tumble into the abyss below. You are not as attached to your mortal body as some humans are, but you do not want to die. You still care for yourself, if only a little. And it is this sense of self-preservation which compels you onwards. You glance this way and that, depressing the tall grass beneath your shoes as you search for a place of shelter. Surely there must be somewhere. You cannot see any likely-looking settlements, but... Now we can talk about Toxic Yuri. Hell yeah. What is that over yonder? Could that be a roof? You hurry onwards, hope budding anew in your heart, until, at long last, you reach your destination. There is a house, after all, out here in the wilds, though it doesn't, at a glance, look very welcoming. The solitary house that you have discovered, not so far from the cliffs, is rather unremarkable. It is so small and squat, you cannot imagine it contains within it more than one floor. You cannot even imagine that it contains much more than one room. Though it is dark, it is not dark enough to mask that the cottage has something of a slant to it. It is leaning listlessly to the side like a drunken sailor. The thatched roof, meanwhile, which tops the dwelling, has certainly seen better days. There is a hole in the thatch, there are several holes in fact, and parts of it look particularly bare, almost bald. That is rather concerning. Should it rain, you will not be properly protected from the elements. Could you really stay the night in such a place? You have some misgivings. But do your misgivings matter, really, when there is nowhere else to go? It is not as though you have any other options. It is with a sense of defeat, therefore, that you approach the cottage, which sticks out of the earth like a tombstone. Part of you wants to turn back, but you know that would be foolish. The windows of the cottage are dark, but that does not necessarily mean it is empty. It is rather late at night, after all. Whoever lives here, if indeed anybody does live here, might be asleep. You cannot imagine the owners of this cottage will appreciate being roused so very late at night. You cannot let yourself worry too much about these small details, however. Otherwise, you will never get anywhere. You swallow. The taste of the salty sea breeze is pungent in the back of your nostrils. Then you rap the knuckles of your right fist on the door. You rap quietly at first, but you do not hear any resultant shuffling inside the cottage. Perhaps you did not use enough strength? Emboldened, you rap your knuckles on the door for a second time, more loudly this time. You wait for a few moments, but still you cannot hear anything. Perhaps the cottage is unoccupied after all. You knock for a third time, then wait. The third time is, as they say, the charm. But for all that, your knocking goes unanswered. Well, nobody can say that you did not try. More intrigued now than anxious, your fingers find the handle of the door. You pull it down hard and, to your surprise, it yields easily. The door swings back for you as if by magic. It feels almost as if this was preordained. You step foot inside the cottage, which is very dark, and glance around. It is hard to see given the lateness of the hour, but the cottage's interior is about as inspiring as its exterior. Which is to say, not very. It is every bit as small and cramped as you fancied when you observed it from the outside. There are a few cupboards which line the walls, a wood fire which has since been extinguished, and a straw pallet on the floor which must function as a bed. Your search is unsuccessful, however, when it comes to trying to locate other humans. You cannot find another soul. Surely that is to your benefit, though? If nobody else lives here, then you might as well make yourself at home. Or as home as one can be, I suppose, in a small cramped cottage such as this, with holes in the roof. You close the door behind you, then approach the straw pallet. All of a sudden, you feel incredibly weary. The tiredness that assails your limbs is absolute, so intense it overcomes the last of your concerns. You settle down upon the straw pallet, yawning as you do. It is not comfortable, but being able to lie down eases some of your aches and pains. Lying down, even on an uncomfortable makeshift bed such as this one, is better than standing. It is far, far better than running. Your eyelids fall shut, your lashes melting together, and, soothed by the sounds of the wind and the distant rolling of the waves, you fall asleep. Then you begin to dream. It is not uncommon, of course, to dream. The best and the worst of us do it, from queens in their castles to peasants sleeping in the straw. Why, who's to say that all you have observed tonight has not, in a sense, been a dream of its own? Would that make your nighttime fancies, then, a dream inside a dream? Perhaps our dreams are empty, hollow things stacked inside one another, like little wooden dolls. Is that not a whimsical thought? How very droll. Your dreams, however, cannot be called whimsical, and neither are they particularly droll. They are not pure fabrications as dreams sometimes are, fleeting fancies which can never come to pass. Your dreams are of a rather more pernicious sort. In your dreams, you are at the conservatoire, with your red hair tied back into 2 prim, proper braids. You are walking through the courtyard, clutching your books to your chest as you make your way to the library. Your head is bowed so as not to look at the faces of your passing classmates. You do not want to meet their eyes. These girls, with their sensible braids and their sensible shoes, are merciless. You hunch your shoulders together in this dream of yours so as not to draw their attention, but alas, it is not enough. You stumble, clumsy thing that you are, and you fall, and just like that, all eyes are upon you. They are staring at you. They are laughing at you. You lay there on the ground by the fountain, your books scattered in your skirt in a woeful state of disarray. Your knee hurts. Is it bleeding? You examine your injured leg, trying not to cry, and as this transpires, you hear a voice. One of your classmates is calling out to you. She has acknowledged you. You look up shyly, tears beating in your eyes, at a girl taller than you and prettier and much more refined. She extends her hand towards you. Does she mean to help you? It cannot hurt to try, can it? Hesitantly, you reach out to accept her offered aid. Her fingers curl around yours tightly, perhaps too tightly. Her nails dig into your skin. It hurts. Deftly, the girl pulls you to your feet. Your legs feel weak from your fall, and your knee is still aching, still bleeding. You stumble, feeling out of sorts, but you are not afforded much of an opportunity to gather your bearings. The girl's hands are on your shoulders. She is laughing at you. Then she is pushing you. The sound of the fountain and the running water which drums against his basin is, all of a sudden, very loud. It is overwhelming. It surrounds you. Then it engulfs you. It is cold as ice. You cannot breathe. The rushing of the water continues, echoing in your eardrums over and over, and then, no. You do not want to remember this. What good will it do? It is in the past, where the past ought to remain. You are never going to go back, not even in your dreams. It is this determination which forces you back into the world of the waking with a start. You gasp like a fish as you sit upright, your eyes unnaturally wide. You feel wearied from a lack of sleep, and with half-lidded eyes, you glance about. It is still dark inside your cottage. The sky visible from beyond the windows splashed still with stars. Hey, all girls' schools were a mistake. All boys' schools were a mistake. It's a bad time. Boarding schools in general, bad. Bad idea. It has birthed so many yaoi and yuri possibilities to cope. It has. I feel like boarding schools are just like a speed run to the Stanford prison experiment. How long were you asleep? You are not sure. Your dream was so very detailed that it really did feel that you had been transported into a different time, into a different place. When you inhale, you can taste rank, fetid water in your mouth. Tentatively, you pat yourself down, your fingers trailing against the front of your uniform. Did main character seriously, get chased out of the school? Getting chased by the classmates if she's still in her uniform? So vivid was your dream, you half expect to find that your clothes are damp. This is not the case, however. You are, in fact, perfectly dry. Well, now what are you to do? Do you go back to sleep? That sounds like the best option available to you. You are very tired, but your senses feel too overwrought all of a sudden for sleep. You do not think you could bear it. On unsteady legs, you rise to your feet, then stand by the window. You look out to the starry sky and to the pitted moon which hangs amongst them, and you frown. You can hear the wind outdoors howling like an injured animal, and more softly the ebb and flow of the waves as they meet the cliffs. But that is not all. What is that sound? Why, it is almost like singing. The voice is far away enough that you cannot pick out any of the individual words, nor even the individual syllables. There is a haunting quality to it all. The singer, whoever they are, possesses quite the pretty voice, high and clear like a bell. The song is a melancholy one which stirs your heart. Curiosity takes root inside you, as it did during that fateful day you found that book in the library. Logically, you know you should not go outdoors to seek the source of that singing, but emotionally, that is another matter altogether. You really should have learnt your lesson by now. You should know better than to go sticking your nose into business which does not concern you. But naughty little girls such as you never do learn. You cross the old fisherman's cottage as though in a dream, then reach for the handle of the door. The handle depresses easily enough beneath your grasping fingers, and the door opens with a click. The rest of the world yawns before you, framed in the doorway, all of it bathed in moonlight. You thought it was cold inside the old cottage, but it is colder still now that the door is open. An unpleasant wind rushes forward to meet you, knifing mercilessly through the fabric of your uniform. You look across the cold, inhospitable landscape, your fingers clenched into fists at your sides. Then you step out into the unknown. You canvass the cliff face, led by nothing more than that luxurious singing. So haunting and ethereal is this voice as it hangs on the breeze, it would be enough to send 1,000 ships off to war. You keep walking into the night until you reach the very edge of the cliffs, where they drop downwards into empty air. You ought not to go any further, but the voice has yet to cease. You can still hear it, echoing inside your head. It compels you to act. You look down at the shore, which seems like a dizzying distance away, then out to the ocean, which is breaking against the scattered rocks below. Your eyes narrow with determination. Then you take a step towards the cliff. These cliffs are steep and the rocks below them are sharp. You can see them glinting in the darkness, their tips jagged like the teeth of hungry predators. The cold wind blows, rocking your hair, and you shudder from it. Your shoes were not built for scaling cliffs, and your heels do not have much in the way of purchase, particularly not when the cliffs are so steep. Clinging to the cliffs is no small feat, yet you are determined to ease yourself down onto the shore, in one piece, preferably. The wind is so powerful it feels as though there is something deliberately malicious to it. You wonder during your descent if it means to knock you off your perch on purpose, to cast you down to the rocks below. Well, that is what it wants, and you refuse to give it the satisfaction. You can be awfully stubborn at times, and now is one of them. You continue to climb. How long have you been at it now? Until, at long last, your feet meet the shoreline below. You have made it, and you did not sustain too many injuries. Your palms are throbbing, yes, after gripping those rocks, and you might have a few cuts, but your wounds are of a shallow and superficial sort. Things could have been worse. You flex your fingers. They feel uncomfortably numb and cold alongside it. Your skin is prickling, but you can at least still feel discomfort. At least it is still attached to your bones where it ought to be, your vital organs concealed within the hollow cavity of your body. You have a lot to be thankful for. This night has, by and large, been quite successful. There are no longer any obstacles between you and the mysterious voice which lulled you outdoors. Now you must find them. You set off down the shore on the hunt of the singing voice which has captivated you so. You sidestep sharp, jagged rocks which jut out of the sand like teeth. The rocks which cannot be circumnavigated, meanwhile, you clamber over. All the while, the sound of the sea mingles with that of the singing. Provides an ethereal, haunting backdrop to your exploration, one which further adds to the surreality. Surreality is a word. It sure is. Of your midnight stroll. The waves lap against the shore, then recede shyly, pushed and pulled by the bleached white moon which hangs overhead. The oceans that you have seen in your library books were all blue as sapphires, but this ocean is different. It is so late at night it looks black instead. The undulating surface of the water reminds you of a mirror, though its depths are even deeper and much more mysterious. A sense of foreboding settles upon you, but you try to quash it. You will not let yourself be afraid. Hello, hello, hello. You round a corner, your feet unsteady in their sensible brown shoes, and then, at long last, you see her. I like the teeth armlet and bracelets. Those are fun. Girl spotted, wife spotted. There is a woman sitting upon a rock out in the ocean. The woman's eyes are closed and her lips are parted, her expression soulful. Oh, she's got bone earrings too, that's fun. She is singing. Her hair, which is fair, flutters about her face like a shroud, which adds to her otherworldly aura. Her eyes may be closed, but her lashes are long and luxuriant like a doll's. Her lips, meanwhile, which are parted in song, are soft, like the freshly plucked petals of a flower. This simile stuff hits different after Last Route. There was dolls, there was roses, there was a little bit of a she loves me not with the rose. Her face is perfect, as are her proportions. Her neck is tall and slender like the stem of a flower. As for the lower half of her body, meanwhile, well, it is nothing like anything you have ever seen before. It is here and here alone that the woman betrays your narrow human definitions of beauty, for her legs are non-existent. Rather than two awkward appendages, this woman has, instead, the sleek, shimmering tail of a fish. Is she not then a human? She cannot be, not with a tail like that. This unusual sight makes you gasp, and quite audibly at that. You do not mean to be rude, but you cannot help yourself. Humans tend to react poorly to things they do not understand. At least you do not scream. That would be even ruder. Oh my! You meant to observe the mermaid from a distance, but it would appear that your shocked gasp was loud enough to attract her attention. The fish-tailed vision sitting upon the rock is looking at you. Her gaze is so piercing, it feels almost as if she is looking through you. Your heart seems to stop inside your chest, as if by some manner of magical spell. You thought the mermaid pretty when you first observed her, sitting on that outcrop of rock, her face turned in profile. Now she is looking at you, however, you can see that you are mistaken. She is not just pretty. She is beautiful, so much so, it is almost unnerving. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she is some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. But no, she is none of those things. Her tail might be an impossible thing, but its scales look slick and wet regardless, like those of any fishes one might find at the market. These scales are iridescent, and bathed beneath the light of the moon, they almost seem to glow. The sight of her rather takes your breath away. You look at the mermaid. She looks back at you. You prepare yourself, expecting some sort of altercation. The main character is a gay disaster. She truly is a gay disaster. But the surprise soon fades from the mermaid's face. Her lips, which were once pursed in a frown, now shift upwards. Better get ready to fight our Iceman. It's Pokemon battle time. She is smiling. Then she says in a refined sort of voice, My, it really is good to see a human again. Particularly a human girl. I was beginning to fear that your kind had all disappeared, and I would no longer have anybody left to tell me of the world above the waters.